So check it out. Today we're going to talk about the entrepreneur's ultimate guide to raising capital. Now, as an entrepreneur, we'll get to 6 different points. But in order to raise capital, you have to be able to not just sell an idea, but really do influential vocabulary behind it, as well as meaning in your heart, your mind, and your soul. And if you really believe in what you have as a company and you're trying to raise capital for it, it's not going to be how much somebody gives you more than it's going to be how much they actually do. So let's get into the 6 different points. And I'm always going to start off with utilizing OPM, which is other people's money, right? So yeah, we hear that in real estate. If I'm going to go buy a real estate and the property's worth $500,000 and I put $100,000 down, the bank's going to give me $400,000. That's OPM from a bank mortgage standpoint. However, what about the person that actually gives you the $100,000 as the down payment for the property? That's one example of other people's money. And then the other example is, hey, the renter, they're going to pay your mortgage every month because you provided them a place to live. So if you're going to learn how to leverage OPM to fund your business and reduce personal financial risk, well, this is how you do it. Because if all of a sudden somebody else's money is on the line, however, your sweat equity or your intellectual property or what you stand for is on the line, you got to make sure that you're putting them and yourself in a position where you I dotted and T crossed to make sure that this could work. For example, I had started a company, Epic, a couple years back, and I had 3 people come in with 1% ownership for $300,000 each. That capital allowed me to take this company off the ground. And, 2 years, close to 3 years later, the money they put out of their pocket, all 3 of those folks are already at break even or about a quarter away from break even, which means the rest of their life, it's pure profit. Their money's been recovered. So I know for me, whenever I do businesses, whether it's that business or Epic Productions and other business that we have, where when other people come in with their money as part of an investment, they're getting paid based on the production of the business that we create. People that own real estate love doing that as well, because what they do is they're going to find investment properties, put tenants in there, and then the tenants are going to pay back the mortgage and everything else that's owed when it comes to living in that property. So point number 2 on how to really kind of understand the ultimate guide to raising capital and why it's important to be able to not just sell the idea, but have influence behind it, is you want to find investors who believe in your business model. Align with investors who understand and support your vision. That sounds easy, but how do you align with those investors? Well, you got to spend time and get to know them. You got to build rapport. How do you build rapport? You ask 5 questions. Think Sean Callaghy. In those 5 questions, you get to understand what their thought process is when it comes around money and investing, and you get an idea of what they look for. Once you ask those 5 questions and ask them about all their successes, but also, most importantly, their biggest challenges, you could then come in and say, here's where I think my company is not going to present the challenge that those other investments you made presented to you, and why I think you should invest in this company. That's one way of aligning. You want to build long-term relationships with investors. So if I have somebody that invested in my company, let's say 3 years ago, and they're already making money, it's a lot easier for me to go back to them and say, hey, here's a new startup I'm doing. Let me give you an idea how it complements what you currently own already. Because if I have an owner of one of my companies that's making profits every quarter, and I develop another company that could be related to that company or could be a driver to that company, that's an easy way for them to, because the relationship capital is there, the financial relationship is there as well. They're going to trust who you are. And this is exactly what I've done in my world. And then I want to seek investors who bring more than just financial backing. Find investors you have a personal relationship with. Now, that comes 2 ways. I do have people that just put money into it but didn't provide any other support except for money, and that only produced a 1% ownership for them. However, I have non-monetary investors that are part owners with me that are traffic drivers and care about the company's day-to-day. So you could do both and have fun in that space. And if you do that, you'll be amazed at how good things happen. But remember, it all starts with building the right level of rapport, because if you can't build the right level of rapport where they know that you care and they trust your mindset when it comes to this kind of business that you're creating, then and only then will they give you money. If they don't believe that, they won't give you money. Number 3, clearly articulate your project vision and its uniqueness. So I'm in the space of, they teach insurance agents or financial planners to get connected with an accountant or connected with an estate attorney or somebody else that's in the financial planning space that could refer business. It's a great idea. The challenge is there's over 600,000 people that have a life license and or a health and a health insurance license as well. And these folks go after the same playbook, and it's so watered down that only the top 1%, 1%, 1%, 1% actually do it real well. And those are typically planners that work inside the accounting office or inside the attorney's office. That's it. So what about somebody that's not in that model? And this is what we did, and this is how we articulated our heroic unique identity, is we began to create alliances and partnerships with influencers on social media who had audiences that adored them, either it was a she or he, and that this audience needed something that he or she couldn't provide, which was a financial literacy and or financial education component to their social media channel. And in that space, our business has been to accelerate mightily, not from a standpoint of giving us money, but from a standpoint of we've been able to create a lot more appointments and taken people through our success process because of those very relationships. That's an important thing to understand. Number 4 is to showcase the partner's expertise and experience. And I'm going to give you quick 3 bullets, but explain it in real simple terms. Number 1 is detail partners' relevant experience and track records specific to one space. Highlight the industry connections and networks. Watch this. And number 3, complement and strengthen the project with diverse skills. So I have partners, whether it's Randy Garn, whether it's Tax Hive, whether it's David Meltzer. They all have great relationships and industries, the whole 9 yards. And we also have a new partnership with a independent news agency out of Las Vegas called CY Interview. It's the fastest growing one. And they put me on a podcast with the producer / director of TLC Forever. TLC is the rap group from the early 90s. And they did a show on Lifetime recently that was on TV about their whole story to where they are today. Why is this important? Because that podcast or that interview that I was on with that director, producer, was, if you go to Facebook and if you look at Lifetime's page on Facebook, that was featured in there, and there was 5 million eyeballs on it. So if you think of ecosystem merger, if you think of 1 + 1 = $1 trillion plus, what that really means is if you partner with the right people, proximity, but have a level of integrous influence through 5 questions and really understand how to move people from hello to yes with energy that is in line with both parties, you'll then be able to explode your business in ways that'll blow your mind. Number 5 would be to present a comprehensive financial plan. Very simply, hey, here's your cash injection. If you're either just someone that's going to put money in and be on the sidelines versus if you're maybe not going to put money in, but drive traffic that could produce revenues, you want to be able to articulate what that looks like. You'll need an accountant to help you out, as well as maybe some kind of planner that could really help you with the math and then be able to show you projections on how you can present it to people that you want to invest into your idea. Last but not least, highlight the strength of your management team. Who's your chief of staff? Who, after your chief of staff, is holding everybody accountable? Who's your social media team? Are they preparing you properly with the numbers of each bullet in order? Are they doing the right links on the videos that you put out? Are they really searching key terms to make sure that you're reaching the right audience from an algorithm? Are they doing that? If they are, then you're in a good spot. If they're not, you may have to do a sit down and say, hey guys, what's going on here? Are they leaving you to go visit another client because it's somebody brand new and they're comfortable in a relationship? I'm not saying it happens here, but what I am saying is I've seen it happen in other places. So it's important to understand who your management team is. It's important to understand their strengths and be able to introduce key team members and their experience to emphasize their contributions to execution with a proven model that's already worked. What I can say from a social media perspective is my team has gone from where it's 100 to over 500 brand new organic leads that come in a month. That's a big deal because I could show it. They know how to work with my other influencers. I could prove that. My chief of staff, bringing her in on board with us, had no experience as a chief of staff, but what her experience in was in execution. When you have someone that knows how to execute at a high level, who puts the company first, just like my social media team does, just like the rest of the folks that work at Epic, but they could speak to each other in a congruent manner. What begins to happen is the culture and everything else begins to elevate on a day-to-day basis. Anyway, thanks for checking me out. We're dropping nuggets. We're bringing videos. We're trying to provide as much education as we can. I shared a lot of my own personal experience in this video today that has been a proven winner for me. Go ahead, click the link and subscribe. Also like, so when that bell goes off, when a new video comes, you get to hear it. If you have any comments, feel free to pass on some comments. Any videos you want to do, let me know. And if there's anything you think that we could work on, we want to hear that as well. We'll engage with any kind of comments and really put forth the best step. Once again, go ahead, click the link below. Thank you for checking us out. One of the team members here at Epic will talk to you if you want to have a free consultation with no obligation.